Lights up!
Everybody to Lights Up, the podcast of Putney Theatre Company. Now today we're talking about a very special event that's happening in June. As part of the Wandsworth Arts Fringe Festival, Putney Arts Theatre will be putting on 9 plays over the 3 weekends of the festival itself. Now the weekends are the 6th, 7th and 8th of June, the 13th, 14th and 15th of June, and the 20th, 21st and 22nd of June. There's 9 plays, which includes our new writing, and Group 64 will be reviving their production of Spreading the Joy, which is written by the Group 64 members themselves.
Thank you, Kate. As there are so many people and plays in the festival, we thought it would be really useful to catch up with a few of the directors and actors to give a flavour of the excitements ahead. The interviews were all snatched between rehearsals, in the studio, the main stage and in various broom cupboards, so you'll hear the background sounds of a busy theatre. The first interview is with the wonderful Helen Wood.
Hello, I'm Helen. I'm a member of Putney Theatre Company and I am involved in the WAF at Putney. So I'm involved with 3 things. I am organising the cabaret slots, which are each Saturday at 8:30pm, about an hour long. I'm also involved with the first look new writing slots, acting in one of the small plays there, and I'm also directing one.
So it sounds like a lot of things going on then.
Yes.
So tell me what you're directing.
A little piece called Dying for a Cuppa, written by Robin Davis, and it's a little duologue between a man and a woman, and there's a bit of sort of extramarital affair. And there's also this mystery to the story. So there's a nice sort of cliffhanger, and it's really up for the audience to decide what happens there.
Sounds fun. And you're also acting, you said?
Yes, I'm also acting in a piece written by Rita Adams called They, which is about a young woman and the relationship with her grandma as they talk through all the current affairs of the time. So it's quite a heartwarming reflection, and I'm acting with the lovely Sharon in that as well.
So are they both new writing, or is one?
They are both new writing. So yeah, it's great to have people coming to Putney to explore new writing skills. And this is the first time the writers are seeing and hearing their productions on the stage. So that's really exciting for them.
Oh yeah, it's quite fun, isn't it? Because we haven't done any new writing for couple of years, something like that, is that right?
Yeah, since just before I joined actually, so I joined in 2022, so yeah, this is the first time I'm involved with it.
Yeah, it's good not just to do the standards, but to encourage people to participate in the theatre.
Yeah, and it's a great sort of step in for people if they're perhaps new to directing. So this has been really refreshing for me to come back to a directing side, but also it's a great opportunity for those who want to do a bit more acting as well and build up. So there's lots of nice little elements to the new writing.
Sounds great. So one final question. You've done a few productions over the last 2 or 3 years. Can you think of what your favourite production might be?
Oh, I think I do have a soft spot for the Canterbury Tales. So that was back in summer of 2023, and it was just lovely to be outdoors and have the company there. And I think in terms of ones I've enjoyed the most on stage at Putney, probably Shakespeare in Love, which was back in November. So yeah, those 2 are very close to my heart.
Yeah, that was a big company as
that
well.
That was 26 people on the main stage.
Great. Well, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
So I'm here with Owen, who's going to introduce himself, and we're going to talk about what he's been doing with the amazing Wandsworth Arts Fringe Festival.
Yes, hello, I'm Owen Thomas James, and I am part of the artistic team, so involved in the organisation of this amazing project. which has been a very busy time, but also a very exciting time. Lots of plates to spin, but it's been a very fulfilling one.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the beginnings of it, where you were talking about trying to get the directors to pitch?
Yeah, so what was nice is when we put the call out for directors for the initial interest in the festival, we had some really interesting pitches and a massive range coming in. And what was nice is actually the people that were getting in touch and expressing an interest were new to directing. Perhaps they weren't necessarily new as a member to Putney, but they had not directed before, and saw this as a great opportunity to try out their skills. And absolutely, that's what this is sort of about, really. It's about experimenting and trying new things, and I think you will see that with the lineup that we've got. Not only are there 7 new plays to be seen, but also new directors trying out new things with new casts and new members to Putney, as well as familiar faces. So you really do get a massive range, which is quite nice to see.
And are they little shows, big shows?
So they're relatively small, I suppose, small scale. So it's that festival feel to it. So the staging isn't going to be huge. It's that thought behind an Edinburgh Fringe show where you kind of get in and get out in half an hour. So the amount of set that you can build is the amount that's logistically possible in that short window. But most of them are full length, so 70, 80 minutes. And again, some of them a little bit shorter, some of them a little bit longer. So you will get the variation. But what you definitely will get is something different with every single one.
Yeah, so we've had a sort of taste of that during the rehearsals, because every night this place is completely packed out, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's great to see that, if you come to the theatre, there are 4 shows at some points, all rehearsing at different times in different rooms, sometimes at the same time. But our bar, our foyer, the studio, and the main stage, all in use at once, all with different things going on, and you hear some very interesting mixes of noise going on and dialogue. So if you happen to be eavesdropping, it's quite entertaining.
Yeah, we were doing the casting for A Curious Incident, and next door we had Zach in a very shouty play for a while, which was quite fun. Tell me, I think you were doing some other things.
Yeah. So when we sort of started organising it, and then when we got the directors confirmed and everything was cast, so organising the auditions was a process. And what I found out was actually I really have a dislike for spreadsheets, so I'm going to try and avoid that going forward. But no, and then since then my role is I'm one of the sound designers on the shows, so it's myself and Tom Sainsbury looking at these. And what's really nice is, again, as a sound designer, as you'll know, Nick, it's you like to keep things varied. You don't like the same shows to have a similar spec, and you've definitely got that. So with Black Mountain, for instance, the play kind of revolves around the world of light and sound that we'll create. It's it's a thriller, it's gripping, there's tension, and it was quite a fun experience for me to be able to score that and work with Justin to create that sense of uneasiness almost. And then if you look at something like The Gardener, which is the children's show directed by Perry Kitchen, what you've got there is a beautiful soundscape. It kind of takes you through all the seasons and some lovely classical music coming in. It was really nice to make and put together, actually. It was very peaceful.
Yeah, it's very satisfying, isn't it, as you say, to have that sort of variety.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything that you'd like to finish off with? Any particular shows that you think might be of general interest, or any other events going on in the
Gosh, well, I couldn't be seen to pick favourites, of course, because all 7 plays are going to be fantastic, as well as we have our new writing. So the first look is a chance for the Putney playwrights have been working very, very hard over the last few months, putting together a collection of very short new pieces of writing that will be directed by members of the company, as well as cast with members of the company. So there's a real flavour of new stuff and exciting stuff to see there. That's on display. We've also got the cabaret as well, so if you fancied something a little bit upbeat, not too serious, but something that you want to sing along to, that's going on, as well as you'll know, everything going on outside the theatre. There will be a stage outside where we'll be welcoming people to kind of come up and put a few songs out and really have that nice festival feel. So there's plenty to see, and it will be varied and thoroughly enjoyable.
It will be enjoyable. All sounds fantastic. And if you listen very carefully in the background,
Yes.
you can hear lots of rehearsal.
Yes, yeah, that's just one example of the sound that you've been hearing here for the last couple of months.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks, Owen.
Thanks, Nick.
So, my name is Megan. I am one of the assistant artistic directors for Putney Theatre Company. which basically means I'm the admin monkey for the main artistic director. And as well as that, I am helping to produce the Wandsworth Arts Fringe at Putney Arts Theatre. And because I wasn't busy enough, I decided to audition and got a little role in it as well. So I've got my finger in lots of different pies at the moment.
Yeah, so you must be running yourself ragged.
A little bit, but to be fair, I'm normally relatively busy and involved with the theatre, so it's lots of plates, but they're not plates that are new to me, which is a small mercy.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more about the production side of...
So for the festival, essentially we've got, I believe it's 7 plays in total that Putney Theatre Company are putting on. And so I've been mostly helping out with the organisation of all of those. So that's meant sort of helping with the rehearsal schedule, chasing up the directors if we need them to do certain tasks, or to chase the directors to then make them chase their cast if we need to, as well as sort of getting people to sign up for our outdoor cabaret and our indoor cabaret as well. So it's been a lot of sort of logistics and corralling and, to use the polite term, haranguing people on various social media platforms just to get, deadlines and stuff pushed over the line.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's an awful lot of people involved. So
there's so many people involved. It's a really, really big cast. And the beauty of doing a festival like this is everyone's got a good, decent-sized part. And the scope and the breadth of what's happening is just absolutely humongous. So there's really sort of a different show for every type of actor, but also most importantly for every type of audience member. So if you want to go see like a gritty drama, we've got one. You want to see a tragic comedy, or you want to see a play that's dealing with current issues, if you want to see some new writing and just, touch into a bit more of the sort of like artistic happenings within Putney as a whole, not just tied in with the theatre, we've even got a children's show. So it's really no excuse not to come and at least see some of it, because you can't possibly say, oh, I don't like X, because we are offering the entire alphabet.
Very good. So it sounds like a cultural extravaganza.
Well, that's the hope. Well,
I think it definitely. I think it's going to be.
Let's get the first weekend, because it's going on for 3 weekends.
Yes.
Let's get the first couple of days out of the way, and I'll come back to you on that one.
So tell me a little bit more about the play you're acting in and what your role is.
So I'm in a play called Black Mountain, which is as if Stephen King and Harold Pinter had a love child and he decided to write a play. So if Brad Birch, you're listening to this, that's how I would describe your writing. Basically, it's about a couple, Paul and Rebecca, and they are trying to save their relationship. There's been an affair. So they run off to a cabin in the woods for some time away, time to talk, time to sort of work things out. And then suddenly the affair partner shows up at the cabin and things all sort of slightly start to go wrong. So I would describe it as a bit of a thriller, to be honest. Mm-hmm. If you like horror movies, or if you like psychological thrillers, or books, or anything sort of that genre.
Horror, dark fantasy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Thriller, adventure.
Yeah, definitely. All of the above, really. But at the centre of it is this incredibly naturalistic writing. So you don't really need to actually act per se, because the words do most of the legwork. The way that it's written is really naturalistic, and the characters just jump off of the page. They're there, they're fully formed, they're three-dimensional. There's not I need to look deep into this ambiguous line for my interpretation of this character. It's very much like what you see is what you get, which is a good challenge for an actor.
So it sounds a little bit like a Netflix series.
Honestly, yeah, a bit like a Black Mirror episode. Although I'd probably posit, I'm not a massive fan of the most recent seasons of Black Mirror. I don't know if that's incredibly controversial to say on air or not. But,
probably not.
No, I think the first seasons were great, yes, but then after a while it kind of becomes a bit commercialised, which is ironic in of itself, given what it's trying to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. I read the audition extract and kind of went, oh, yeah, that's interesting. So, it's nice to kind of get my teeth into a meaty role.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much for finding time in your busy schedule, and we've still got 5 minutes for the tech.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay, grand.
Right, so I'm just going to start by asking you who you are.
I'm Geoff Saunders, and in the WAF at Pat, I am directing there, which I also wrote. I also have a show in the new writing First Look, and I'm running a workshop.
Very busy man. And what about you?
Richard Seedhouse, alongside Geoff, directing this show, and also appearing in the cabaret on the 21st of June, and operating light and sound for 4 of the other plays in the season.
Who says men can't multitask?
Well, it's Tech Day tomorrow, Tech Day number 1, and we might find out.
So, Geoff, tell me a little bit more about There.
Okay, There is a play that I wrote about 7 years ago. I'd been in a show which was based on interviews, and I wanted to use a similar technique to write another play. And so I put out on Facebook, did anyone fancy doing a questionnaire about friendship among adults? And 57 people answered, and I had some really interesting reading to do. The answers to the question, what is the worst thing you've ever done to a friend, were amazing. I would make a book among themselves. Of the 4 stories in there, 2 are directly informed by stories that were told in those questionnaires. The other 2 stories have more of a tangential link. But it was quite good that I had these real stories of friendship, because I could make people do and say things that you would otherwise think weren't realistic, but they were. Because I could say, that person actually said that or actually did that. There is, what I like to say about it is mainly a comedy. There are 4 stories in it, 2 female friendships, 2 male friendships, and each friendship at some point hits a bit of a roadblock. And it's about how people deal with that, how they sort out friendships that go a bit wrong. And there's quite a bit of, not controversial stuff, but there's a lot of stuff whereby people hopefully will recognise a particular storyline from their lives and be able to relate to it. So my feeling is that at the end of the show, I'd like people to come out and say, that was amazing, we loved it. But also to say, and I had a friend just like that, and we did this and this happened, and get talking about their own friendships. So opening up conversations about that kind of thing.
So those are the best plays, aren't they, really, where an audience is so engaged and they feel related and they feel empathetic.
I'm quite happy if they just come out and say they loved it, to be honest, and stop there. But I think the characters are very recognisable. I don't want to flatter Geoff too much, but it is very well written.
Thank you.
The conversations between the characters are quite credible. You've got roadblocks that you, as Geoff said, that you will be familiar with. There's unrequited love. What does that do to a friendship? There's being friends with an irritant. What does that do for your friendship? And there's what happens when you meet someone and then you meet their other friends, and how do you judge them based on what their other friends are like? Can nice people be friends with less nice people? And how does that make you feel about them? I think that's probably the story that resonates most with me, is when you meet someone and then you meet them out of context and then you meet their friends and you go, oh. But
and that's normal though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we all meet friends and we do get on with someone, but then you're introduced to the wider group or the family, and it does change the dynamic.
Very much like if you've got a new partner and then you meet their family and you sort of realise, oh, that explains that element of you.
It isn't a spoiler, but Richard does actually play. There are 8 main characters. There's one other character who Richard plays, who is a representative of the other set of friends. And there's quite a spectacular short scene in which Richard comes on and represents that in a way that's quite emphatic.
Excellent. I can just imagine it, actually.
It's wonderful that you should say that. It's such a compliment when people say, I can really imagine you playing someone awful.
I didn't say that because you said there was no spoiler, and therefore you didn't reveal actually what happened. So I can only conjecture. But yeah, I know that you're modulating your voice so well that our listeners wouldn't even notice that you might have a louder voice in performance.
He's certainly bold. He's definitely recognisable, and I hope people will recognise the character from the world.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit more about other things you're involved in the Fringe.
Well, I am now the new writing coordinator for Putney Theatre Company. Because I was directing there and I couldn't do both shows, Roger Blitz and Rob Wallace have taken on putting together First Look, which is the new writing show. The new writing show is 8 plays performed 3 times, but not all 8 are performed all 3 times. So each of them is shown at 2 of the showings. It's almost as complicated as the main WAF at Pat Festival in terms of programming. I have a play in that called Thanks for Having Us, which is a 2-hander, 2 women, being directed by Carrie Cable. Roger and Rob have both written pieces that are in it, and there are other writers who've submitted stuff there. I think, I might get this wrong, there are 4 monologues, and the rest of the plays have 2 characters, and they're very, very, very different. There's funny ones and sad ones and angry ones, but all written by members of the company, so they'll all be there, and I think it's going to be quite fun.
So that's part of the appeal then, isn't it? That they are all fresh writing. It's all fresh writing. They're new plays. They're experimental because they're new, discovering new ways to do things.
And even for those writers, they are new. So it's not that we've brought along old stuff that we've written before. It's all stuff that has been developed because of this group.
Right. Sounds
very exciting.
Yeah, sounds great. And Richard, you're doing a number of other things throughout the festival.
Have been persuaded to operate in the box, the light and sound for 4 of the other main plays. I will be in the box for the first of the first look shows, and I'm sure I will be generally milling about the place. I don't think it's been really announced yet, but I may be appearing in the background of a performance on the outside stage. And on the 21st of June, I have been persuaded, after having let slip that I was experimenting with having singing lessons, I will be duetting on the main stage in the cabaret with Meg.
Wow, the ghost of the theatre. I'm shuddering in anticipation.
I think anyone who's been in a show with me that has involved or required me to sing will know that it is not a thing that I have enjoyed doing, no matter how much people did enjoy the Elvis chicken from Canterbury Tales. But I think
the audience loved it.
One of the strengths of being part of a group like the Putney Theatre Company is being given the strength from your castmates to have a go at things and push yourselves and find out whether or not you can indeed do more. And on the 21st of June, we will find out if I can sing.
Which actually, a lot of the new writing is exactly the same kind of thing, really, isn't it? It's pushing people and getting them to discover new things.
Yeah.
Well, also, this time last year, Richard and I did Bobby and Amy, directed Bobby and Amy, and in that case, I was the director and Richard was the assistant. This year, we are co-directing, and this is part of Richard's journey to becoming a director.
Terrifying, though, that thought is. But
well, who knows where it will? Who knows where it will lead? I think for me, it is a really exciting next step in my development, and a lot of the things that I've done in and around the company have been with the aim of ultimately being a better cast member, understanding more about the roles around, how you can implement and complement those whilst you're on the stage. So, understanding director. I first acted in anything 6 years ago. And I did my first show with Putney 2 years ago, after a long break during a quiet period for the world. And so yeah, and I am enjoying it. And working with Geoff is a real pleasure. So there's lots to learn.
Thank you.
So is there anything you'd like to finish off with to encourage our audience?
Oh, well, obviously, come and see there. I think
tickets are really cheap. And
they are
on sale.
And well worth it. For me, it's a great thing in that I was asked to be the new writing lead, and now a piece of new writing is in the main programme to show that in future the new writers will not just be having their own little show, although that's a fantastic thing, but some new writers at this theatre will have the chance to write a main stage production. So we're working on that. I've had my chance and it's happening, but I'd really like one of our other writers to have the next slot. The other little bit of advertising I want to do is that on the 14th of June at 2:30, I'm running a workshop at Putney Theatre Company called Page to Stage, which is about the first time you look at a bit of script, what are the decisions you have to make as to whether you're acting or directing where you stand, how you costume it, what are you going to light it. It's basically an hour and a half of putting on little plays and talking about them, and it's great fun. We did it last year, we laughed a lot, so please come too.
Excellent. And any final thoughts?
I think this is a wonderful opportunity to come and see a huge amount of plays and art within a short space of time without the trouble of going all the way to Edinburgh. So you can spend that train money in the bar and support the theatre throughout the 3-week period.
Great, Andy. Thank you both very much.
Now, ticket prices are £9 or £7 concession, with the exception of the new writing, which is £5, and Spreading the Joy, which is actually free. Right, I know. Now, you can buy an Access All ticket for £50, and that gives you entry to all 9 events. Now, do go onto our website, www.putneyartstheatre.org.uk, find yourself to what's on, and there you'll find all the details, the whole schedule of when each play will be being performed and the times. It's going to be a fantastic festival and a great time in the theatre, so please do get your tickets, and we look forward to seeing you all there.
This is a real Putney Theatre Company production. Do share the podcast with your friends and take a look at our website, searching online for the Putney Theatre Company. So that's it for now. See you next time.